afternoon.
I guess I'm just going to talk to Mother Dimple because I didn't hear anybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I greet you, and first with me is it, I ask permission to speak.
Certainly.
I greet you in peace, and peace in Haitian Creole is la paix. So, la paix.
La paix.
La paix.
La paix.
La paix.
La paix.
I'm glad to be here. When I think about Nelson Mandela, there were a lot of things that a lot of people, all of us could say about him probably. And he was really like what we call like a long distance kind of mentor for me. When I was in Haiti and we had two kidnapping attempts against my life, I thought, why am I here? And then I thought, well, Martin Luther King could have said the same. Malcolm X could have said the same. Mandela could have said the same. And, you know, I called all those names and they start with M.A. So we is saying the same, but I'm just going to stay because all of them stayed and fought the fight, you know. My sister and I were talking the other night and she was saying that Mandela was not a pacifist. And no, he wasn't.
No.
He actually was the co-founder of the armed leg of ANC. And he was in charge of sabotage, and if sabotage didn't work, he was in charge of guerrilla warfare. I think I'll do that again. Because it becomes necessary sometimes, and I think you realize it. When people are knocking you down with billy clubs, and when people are shooting at you and they're shooting men, women, and children, then, you know, passivity isn't the solution. I'm not saying that violence is the solution either, but sometimes you have to meet fire with fire. And so that's what Nelson Mandela did for me. He met fire with fire. I'm going to read to you when he was in prison, and the young brother was talking about integrity. And it must be integrity that we have, it must be integrity that we keep. And even if you place yourself out there or you've been placed out there as an unwilling leader, we must keep integrity. We must do those things that other people won't do. We must make those sacrifices that a lot of other people won't make. We must do that. So integrity is very important, and Nelson Mandela maintained his integrity while he was in prison. And I have a couple of words that of a fellow prisoner. And he said he learned from the way Nelson Mandela carried himself in prison. He said, in the winter of 1964, Nelson Mandela arrived on Robben Island, where he would spend 18 of his 27 prison years. Confined to a small cell, the floor of his bed, a bucket for a toilet, he was forced to do hard labor in a quarry. He was allowed one visitor a year for 30 minutes. He could write and receive one letter every 6 months. But Robben Island became the crucible which transformed him. Through his intelligence, charm, and dignified defiance, Mandela eventually bent even the most brutal prison officials. To his own will, assumed leadership over his jail comrades, and became the master of his own prison. He emerged from it the master, the mature leader who would fight and win the great political battles that would create a new democratic South Africa. This prisoner's name was Neville Alexander, and he said this is what Nelson Mandela would tell his fellow comrades in prison. He always made the point, if they say you must run, insist on walking. If they say you must walk fast, insist on walking slowly. That was the whole point. We are going to set the terms. set the terms. There's the fact that we can set the terms, and for us to believe that. Because the only thing that's wrong with us is that we don't believe. You don't believe how powerful you really are. You don't believe the things that you can do. You don't believe there are things that you can do beyond your imagination. So don't say can't. Eradicate that word from your vocabulary. Don't say, I don't think. You always think. It may not always be righteous thinking, but you always think. And know that Mandela doesn't want you to mourn him. He wants you to learn from his example and then take your rightful place where you should be. There's one more thing I want to share with you. When Mandela did his 1994 inaugural speech, there was a poem that afterwards that people attributed to him. But it really wasn't in his inaugural speech at all. It was written by a woman named Marianne Williamson, who is actually a Houstonian. Her poem, her paragraph out of a book called A Course in Miracles, this paragraph has become more popular when people said he did it than anything else she ever did. So I'm going to share this with you, and for those of you who want to, I ask you to sit comfortably and close your eyes, relax your mind. Take a deep breath, everybody. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not save the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within each of us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically